Here we go with the homework for lesson 11, practice what is the same. I did not assign every problem in this set. I just gave you a few of them, so I'm going to skip a few as I go. First question that you have is, if two rectangles have the same perimeter, do they have to be congruent? You may find it helpful to use your page marking tool and go ahead and just draw a quick picture. And let's say this one has a height of 2 and this one has a length of 2 and a width of 4. And if I draw another triangle over here, and because the question it says if two rectangles have the same perimeter, so then this one would have to be 4 and this one 2. Do they have to be congruent? Or is it possible that I could have rectangles that are maybe just a little bit different but still have the same perimeter, such as this one might be 5 and 2 and this one might be 4 and 3. Are these figures congruent? Take an idea or a little bit to think about that. Just because they have the same perimeter, does that make them congruent? Once you're done with that, explain clearly how you know. You get to skip over that one. For this one, we have a pair of shapes below, and you get to decide whether or not it appears that the two shapes are congruent. Remember, one strategy that we used with this is we used the tracing paper to see if this figure is equal to this figure. So you may want to use that piece. Don't just simply say they look the same and that makes them congruent. Be very specific, especially knowing that we can use rigid transformation to prove that one figure is congruent to another. If you find that these two shapes are congruent, just simply explain right here what you did, that there was maybe a translation followed by a rotation that proves, but give these a label. Maybe call this one A and A prime if that's the case. For part C, we need to, for the pair of shapes below, decide whether or not it appears that the two shapes are congruent. Again, with these ones, we can use rigid transformation to decide. Copy this one down, and it looks like we're going to reflect across to this one, and we need to make a decision. Are these figures congruent or not? Again, knowing that if this shape maps directly to this shape, then we know that they're congruent. Explain your reasoning. Again, with that reasoning, explain using a sequence of rigid transformation. We skipped this problem, come down here to this one. Describe a rigid transformation that takes polygon A to polygon B. Please be very detailed in this. Again, remember that if you don't feel comfortable or confident in your abilities, I want you to see lesson 4 to make sure that you understand that lesson 4 in the lesson summary gives us very good descriptions or very good sentence starters to help us to make sure that we give a good description of a rigid transformation that would take this figure from here to here. Be very specific with it. Again, you can use patty paper or tracing paper to practice and decide what you need to do to get A to B. Then you'll need to, right here, type in your answer and describe exactly how that works out. That will be the end of your homework. Please email me if you have any questions about how to do the work. You're doing a great job. And remember, no matter what you do, don't ever give up.